What is it with you? What do you got, a death wish or something?
That's what it takes. I just want to race.
All right, Diesel heads, it's special episode number 4 of the Chronicles of Diesel, the only show that goes through chronologically everything Vin Diesel. My name is Ethan, and with me here to love that thunder till it rumble is Devin.
If you don't shut up, you won't be invited to the orgy.
Thank you. I think there was a Kurt Russell. No,
Yeah.
why not? No, not Kurt Russell.
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe.
Which is a fair mistake. I think it's a fair mistake because it seems like the Matrix that we live in just flipped 2 letters and they're like, yeah, no one will notice.
For a second there, I convinced myself.
They're also they're on the same age. They're both bigger, like, white actors.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely grayed his hair a bit in this movie, too, which maybe my brain, I did that. I don't know. Russell. Mr. Russell. Okay.
Mr. Russell.
Yes. Is there a Mrs. Russell? We shall Russell never know. All right. Yeah, we watched Thor Love and Thunder, a Marvel movie that is not a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, yet the Guardians of the Galaxy were in it, briefly, which means our favorite tree person, Vin Diesel, playing his character Groot, who also is a tree person, was in the movie. He said a couple lines, so we're going to give a review on this movie.
So that's kind of a spoiler, but also, like, it doesn't fucking matter.
He was probably in a trailer, right?
If anything, we wish we knew that spoiler beforehand.
Yeah.
Because we weren't sure when we were talking about... We were going to review this, but we weren't sure, like, if he was actually in it, and he does have a couple lines. So we're like, this counts.
Right. This counts. I mean, hey, other things that are less counted, so this has to count as well. Now...
A music video counted, so I mean...
Yes, the very first episode was also less than this one. I would even argue that the theme park ride shouldn't count, but it does, and it did, and it's on the record. So how we're going to do this, we're going to review the movie like we did F9 last year for special episode 3. And then eventually, when we wrap up our current slate, whenever the next movie he's in is in it, we're going to tack this one on, right? We're going to tack this one on and give the full ranking stuff for it. But basically, you're getting our thoughts on the movie here. We're going to stay spoiler-free for a little bit and then jump into the spoilies. For a second there, I had a panic on the inside of my head, as opposed to the outside of my head, about whether or not Russell Crowe was shown in trailers, but he was, so, okay. Because I remember seeing him and be like, oh, isn't that the guy from
I think Chris
Gladiator?
Hemsworth's in this.
Oh, shit. You know who isn't in this movie? Brad Pitt. So yeah, he's not in any of them. Why don't you start us off?
He has not been.
Well, here's my theory, and this is not spoilers because this
He's
information.
He's above. You think he's above it?
Well, no, he was in Deadpool too. For a frame, he was the invisible guy when he gets electrocuted, and you see him for a frame. It was Brad Pitt.
Oh, I never saw Deadpool.
Oh yeah, that was a fun movie. Yeah, he was in it for literally like 3 on-off frames of him getting electrocuted.
Is that more or less than the amount of frames that Vin Diesel was in Awakenings?
Less frames. Less frames. But yeah, so we're going to stay spoiler-free for a bit on this movie. Why don't you tell me, I guess, what you thought? In my head, I had some sort of segueing question, but we're going to stick movie as a whole, and then we're going to talk about Vin Diesel a little bit, spoiler-free as well, and then we'll hop into spoilers. Does that sound good?
Sure. So you want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first.
So I saw this like a week ago, a little over a week, 2 weeks ago. So my mind is a little bit more fuzzy on this, I think. Maybe
my mind
which
is a little
which
more
I think will
fuzzy.
be interesting to see if our opinions maybe change or whatnot, or be different.
I forgot what I was gonna. I remember what I was gonna say. Sorry, you going though.
Okay. So for me, like, I just felt like, so I liked Thor Ragnarok.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely one of the better Marvel movies. I know a lot of people like love it. I just,
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought it was one of the better ones. I think it's one of the more funny ones out of the Marvel movies if you're looking at it from that lens, because I think some people see the Marvel movies less for the action and more for the comedy, maybe. I don't know. I'm sure someone exists out there like that. And I like Taika Waititi's work as well. I think
it's Taika.
Is it Taika Waititi?
Yeah.
I've heard it like...
Who cares? It's just a name.
That's toxic. No, I do like his work, and so like I was less hyped about there being another Thor movie and more about, hey, he has a new movie out, let me check it out. And overall, I just felt like it was solid. I think it felt a little, I don't know if it was rushed, like in terms of the production value of it, or the story itself felt very fast paced. But in a way, I'm not terribly disappointed in that, because I feel like just like Thor Ragnarok, and even more so, I'd say, is that I feel like this movie doesn't take itself seriously at all, whether it's the stakes or the characters in it, of like what they can and can't do, what their thoughts are, and also how it connects to all the rest of the MCU. I feel like it's just very, just feel like this could exist on its own standalone thing, and which is fine. I kind of like that, but it just felt something was missing in this compared to the Ragnarok for me. And I don't know what it was. So I just came back being like, oh, it was good. Like I think it's one of the better ones in the last couple of years, besides maybe the Spider-Man movies for me.
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess Spider-Man movie, because I keep forgetting that Far From Home was pre-COVID. So for me, yeah, it's just kind of, I think it's one of the better ones. I'm starting to really feel the, I guess, Marvel fatigue a little bit, of just like, and I was already feeling that, I think, after Endgame, and then with the pandemic, it kind of like we stopped having movies for like a whole year, which was weird.
Yeah.
But it kind of felt good because it felt like I needed a break. And now that we're getting back into the swing of having one of them every 3 or 4 months, I don't know.
It's a lot.
There's really nothing besides Spider-Man. There's nothing on the horizon for me that I'm really looking forward to. Like Black Panther isn't going to have Chadwick Boseman in it, so that's kind of just a downer. So I'm not really hyped for that, unfortunately, and that's not anyone's fault. That's just a shitty situation. But so I feel like this movie made me think more of just like, what is me and Marvel's relationship from now on, like the MCU specifically. Like I'll go get a comic book once in a while, and I'm not afraid to grab a Marvel comic book or whatnot. But for me, it's just like, all right, Spider-Man's not coming anytime soon. I guess Blade. I'm intrigued by what they're going to do with Blade, because I think Blade as a character is goofy as hell.
Right.
I'm like, are they going to tie that to Morbius or something?
Oh, no.
Like that? But no, I don't. I'm kind of just like, I might be good for a little bit.
Those Sony movies are canon in the sense that it's just another multiverse thing, right? Because
I guess Into the Spider-Verse too, was that supposed to come? That's next year, right?
Yeah, it was supposed to be this year, and it got delayed till beginning of next year.
So I guess maybe that one, but if you don't, I don't count that with the MCU. So like outside of that, I really don't know what like. And the shows have just been fine for me. Like I kind of like.
I haven't seen the last two of them. I haven't seen Moon Knight or Mrs. Marvel.
Fine. I've not seen Mrs. Marvel or Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel, yeah, she's a kid. She's not a Mrs. yet.
Okay, I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to that much to it. So for me, it's just like, I don't know. I feel like I'm like, hey, this is fun. I don't know if I'm like looking forward to watch this again anytime soon, though. If that makes sense. I'm very conflicted feelings right now, I guess is the best way to describe it. Now that I've been sat on it for 2 weeks. But you've seen it more recently. So
I saw it yesterday as of the day of this recording. Yeah. But it's just to piggyback off a couple things. I remember what I was going to say before we started talking about our thoughts on the movie. Christian Bale, who plays the bad guy in this film, has stated in an interview long before this movie even had trailers why he's in the movie is because he hasn't been in a lot of movies recently that his kids can watch, and he wanted to be in one. So that's why I think we can start to see a lot of actors that haven't been in one be in one, just because, I would love to have, my boy in there, Matthew McConaughey, doing something as a bad guy. I would love it.
Spider-Man.
I'm Scorpion.
He cannot be Scorpion.
He can be Rhino. I'm Rhino. Spider-Man.
I just want him to be him, but they just change his name. But it's just straight up like,
ooh, he could be Magneto.
Him being
in X-Men.
I can
move your metal.
I can move metal. I can move your Lincoln. Have you heard of the new Lincoln coming out?
I don't wear deodorant.
Is that
he does
true?
not. He doesn't. Oh, from what I read, he doesn't wear deodorant so his pheromones are out there to be grabbed by the ladies. I'm sure that's a lie.
I mean, he is like
people.
handsome
People.
For like an older person, yeah. So
he is the person that people quote. People associate a quote his character said to him. You know, like the line people like to say, like where he says, "The best thing I love about high school girls is the older I get, that they stay the same age." As a character in a movie said that. It wasn't him saying that.
I'm
glad
he didn't say that
in
like,
a movie
as a not character, because that's a weird comment to make.
Exactly.
When would you make that comment?
Exactly.
What SNL interview or not SNL late night show were you doing where you said
Right.
That's like a weird
exactly
offhand comment.
That was one of those things where I'm like, oh, that's my favorite actor. I say it mostly as a joke because I haven't seen it like most of what he's been in. I just really like him.
Everyone's seen Inception. Or not Inception.
Interstellar.
Other Eye movie.
Other Eye.
If you saw that, you're a Matthew McConaughey fan. I think.
Exactly. He was also in a Stephen King movie, Dark Tower, as the bad guy in that, as the gun-slinging bad guy.
I'm the bad guy.
So I think a lot of people will be in the movies as they go on, just because, you know what? It's fun to just get a paycheck, not have to care.
And probably a nicer one than maybe. I don't want to say that these roles don't require effort or like a different amount of work, but I just feel like there's some actors like Christian Bale who have done more films,
yeah,
you know, that maybe.
Oh, I saw a trailer for one called
Christian
Amsterdam.
He's been in movies where like he's changed his body weight and all that shit.
Yeah.
And this one, he sat in the makeup chair for 12 hours, and that probably was still easier than the one movie, I don't know what it's called, where he starves himself, where he looks like he's 100 pounds.
Ugh.
And like,
and he was in American Hustle as like a really overweight dude. That was real.
Yeah, so he's done it all. So I feel like in terms of getting a bang for your buck, I guess, for your labor, maybe this is a little bit
cheaper. Yeah, as long as you're not, if you're not going to be like a Captain America villain that's just raw power, you don't have to bodybuild for it, you know? So that was my thought on that. As far as the movie as a whole, when you say like rushed and all that, my thought was this movie wants to do too much, and it just doesn't have the screen time for it. It wants to have a villain. It wants to have a main character who's on his fourth solo movie, but he's been in 1, 2, 3, 4 other movies in addition to this one. In addition to his now 4 Thor movies. He wants to have an arc. This movie wants to have an arc with him. It also wants to reintroduce a character from 2014 with Natalie Portman's character. Granted, she was in Endgame, fair. But in the 2014 version, if that makes sense, because it was that movie that they went back in time to. It wants to do that. It also wants to have Taika Waititi stuff in it. It also wants to enter a little bit of extra Thor Universal stuff, and it also wants to add a little bit of that straight up cosmic Marvel stuff, and it also wants to tie up the loose end of after Endgame, Thor goes with the Guardians of the Galaxy. It wants to do all of these things in this movie. It does not have the time to do it all, and several things suffer because of it, unfortunately.
I want to add to that, saying we had our TV shows, right, of the Moon Knights and even the Hawkeye. I feel like the Hawkeye TV show could have been a movie, and this movie could have been a TV show.
I'm not against that. I like the Hawkeye show a lot, and I agree with you. I would love if that was a movie
episode, like 7 episodes of that, 7 45-minute episodes with like the what's in this movie, but expanded on.
Yeah. You do, yeah. I mean, we're not going to spoil yet, but yeah, I can easily see it chunked up like that. It almost kind of feels like it could be. And that would be fun to have it be like that. I think that Natalie Portman rules. I think that Chris Hemsworth,
that, like as like Natalie Portman in general. Like I think mean, she was our
where Portman stands over here on the Chronicles of Diesel.
She was Padme in our Star Wars.
Yeah. She was Black Swan in our Black Swan growing up. Yes, she won an Academy Award for that movie.
Oh, good for her. I didn't watch that one.
At least I think she did. If not, she was nominated for it. I'm pretty sure either the movie won or she won, regardless.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so yeah, she was awesome in this movie. Chris Hemsworth was pretty good in this movie.
And if you're going
Tessa
to see...
Thompson, I think that's her name, who played Valkyrie. She was not as good in this movie as the third one, but still good enough to fit the bill for the role.
I was gonna say for if you're going to see for Chris Hemsworth Jackness though, like if you're just seeing it for the bod,
you're not gonna get enough of it.
You're not gonna get enough. There's one scene.
It's in the trailers.
I'll say that. No, but there's a extra scene that they can't put in trailers that if you're looking for something in particular, it's there. But besides that, I think you could get maybe more in the other movies. I don't remember because I feel like there's
I don't really
better
remember, to be
shots of his like biceps and shit in the other movie. But there's one scene in particular where you get to see if you're into that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Taika Waititi returns as the Rock guy. I never remember his name. I think this character ran its course a lot. I think the character was funny in Thor 3 or Ragnarok. I think when he shows up in Endgame, I thought that was perfect. He's in this movie too much. And I don't know if that was the director playing favoritism on the character he plays, or if it was just people really he thought it was funny. People really thought he was funny in the third one. We got to have him in it. He's in it way too much. I think this would be a spoiler. I'll take that back. Christian Bale, his character, is not in it enough. No spoilers.
He's actually, I think, one of the bright spots in this film, though. Like, from the little bit we did get of him, I agree with you. I wish we got a little bit more. And he's cool, and I like his powers. I'm not going to spoil what his powers are, but he has some cool powers in it that, like...
He's got some mamma jammas.
He has some cool powers in it that I really thought were interesting and a little bit different than just, like, some of the other cosmic villains that we've seen who can shoot just lasers and shit. You know what I mean? Like, or just have super strength. Like, I really liked the uniqueness of his powers.
For sure. I think in terms of story and theming... the third movie, well, it never really starts out with a straight-up message inherently. It looks like it's just a fun ride. And it was very clearly like, hey, this guy's your brother, and you have to forgive him. And he kind of wants to be forgiven, and eventually Loki turns around and becomes a good person at the end of that movie, right? Obviously leading him into being dead as soon as the movie ends, essentially. we cut the next time we see him, he's getting his neck snapped by a purple man. This movie has another theme it wants to have, and it definitely states it multiple times by multiple people. And I don't necessarily feel like, I don't know, it doesn't feel super earned. It doesn't feel like it mattered. It's maybe because this character of Thor has gone from super serious, I don't understand Earth, I'm super serious, to, hey, we need to change this character because no one likes him. The audience isn't jiving with Thor 2. Let's change him up. Let's get this new guy in. Taika Waititi can direct the next one. Oh, he's funny. This is great. Like, I don't really buy the whole character arc too much because it feels like two different characters, for sure. So to see this new Thor interact with old Thor plot lines doesn't necessarily feel like we're closing a circle. It feels like two loose ends that are getting really close to being tied up, and they don't. So I don't know if you disagree with me on this stuff.
It's hard for me to remember because I only saw the first two Thor movies once back in 2018 when I like binged all these movies and then got to Thor Ragnarok and then being like, whoa, yeah.
Oh, I like this one.
Yeah, and I don't really remember it's hard for me to remember like the differences between the two. I remember them being serious, but it's hard for me to remember like I haven't seen Thor Ragnarok since either.
I will say Thor Dark World, the second one, was definitely an answer that Disney had for Game of Thrones, a serious dark fantasy. It had some funny stuff in it, and I will say that the play between, or not play, but like the character dynamic that Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston had was good in that movie. There was just so much bad shit in it, but they were definitely trying to be serious, dark fantasy. You're going to have spy thriller stuff with Captain America. You're going to have cool tech stuff with Iron Man. We're trying to do a bunch of different things. This is our dark fantasy stuff, so people have tattoos and say it's serious. It didn't work for them.
Yeah. And then I think it goes to just like kind of the whole how I'm feeling with the Marvel movies. Not to just a quick moment here where I want to say that like I feel like they tried to branch out and then it didn't hit. So they went back to just like, nope, we have this recipe that does work and we're just going to stick with that forever. And that's what it kind of feels like at this point where I'm like, yeah, I'd rather you try something new and it sucks than being like, all right, there's some laughs in this. There's some interesting battle stuff. But at the end of the day, I come out of the theater being like, what happened again? Who's who again?
Yeah.
You know, like I think there's things in this movie that are closer to like what like Eternals was trying to do.
Oof.
And I hate to compare that, but I'm saying like what the what the DNA of all these Marvel movies are at this point, where it's like something's got to tie into something to maybe promote something else.
Yeah. I have here's my thing. Here's my thing.
This is loosely promoting Guardians of the Galaxy. Hey, remember them? Oh,
it's also loosely promoting other future cosmic stuff. Here is my current issue with the way the Marvel movies are set up. Besides the fact that at this moment in time, it feels like they're just a bunch of random movies, and I'm okay with that, obviously, whatever. When you take a character and they're in a setting, cool, they're doing stuff, and then we need to go to this other setting. 9 times out of 10 now in these movies, it feels like, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, like, subscribe, share, and then tell me I'm wrong. They go to a place and they show not nearly enough of it to feel satisfying that we went there, because either they have zero intentions in ever using that location again in the future or concept, or B, they have 100% intentions to use that in the future and they don't want to run its course right now. This movie does that, in my opinion, on 2 different things.
Even Doctor Strange did that.
Doctor Strange barely did shit in that second movie in terms of what they could have done. And I feel like because they don't want to ruin it when they could, have an Avengers movie with a super duper high budget
they have
to
a
it.
Huge universe to work with, but yet they're afraid to just tap into one thing and just roll with it.
It's
I feel like they want to show like they could anything could happen.
We could do this. We could do this. We could do this.
Yeah, but
it's like not the exact opposite when there's a Spider-Man Sony movie or another movie where they just throw everything in it all at once. Here's everything related to this Marvel character or superhero, or throwing it all in the very first movie. And you're overwhelmed. You're like, why do we need any of this stuff? It's like the opposite. Like, here's this cool concept. Here's 5% of it. Goodbye. We're going to move on and just go back to the stuff we were doing before. That's kind of my issue. And I understand, and then we start to get into how these movies are all multiversal stuff now, which is fine, but every single one of these has a different explanation or a different MacGuffin or a different thing about it that doesn't feel to...
Or a different power balance of some sort.
They feel like they don't connect to each other in a way that makes sense. I can't wrap my brain around all this stuff. You know what I mean? So, they're going to eventually build to some Avengers movie, I imagine, where all of this stuff is important, needing to know all this stuff. But, I don't know. I liked it when they were just... You had your 6 Zelda stones you needed to find, and the bad guy gets them all. It's easier to remember,
even if you don't remember what they do or whatnot. You're just like, oh, I saw it in the other one. Oh, I saw it in the other one. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. And then, it works out. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll be proven wrong 3 years from now when Avengers 5, 6, whatever number it is.
There are going to be 2 more of them, and they are going to be 5 and 6, I guess. But they're going to be subtitled. So to go back to this movie again, to touch other aspects spoiler free before we hop into spoiler mode, action thought was pretty decently good. Have no complaints there. Would I like more? Maybe, I guess. Would I like less? Maybe, I guess. I'm indifferent on the matter. It was fun. A lot of it was inventive. There is one weapon that looks clearly like it's foam or just hard plastic. that I could not think of that when seeing the movie. But besides that, everything decently good. I think the effects and visuals look pretty good. There's a location that I'm like, oh, this feels like this is from a video game. I'll talk about that, the spoilers. And a lot of the Taika humor landed. A lot of it. Not all of it. A lot of it landed.
And I think some of the humor, too, was for younger audiences or maybe even older than us audiences. So I feel like they really tried to get like the family humor movie. I was shocked that there's an orgy quote, though. That's why I pulled it.
Yeah.
That like someone mentioned an orgy, and like
kids
I can
don't know what
imagine
that
a kid asking like, "Daddy, what's an orgy?" And how like you can't even bullshit around that one.
Yeah.
A party?
You just say, "Oh, I don't know. I don't know." I think I said this on an episode before. I was sitting in the car. I'm like 12. Mom's in the car driving. Tori Amos music's on. One of the songs she sings is MILF, don't you forget. I'm not a good singer. I'm like, in my head, I puzzle piece those letters together, and I ask my mom, what does MILF mean? She's like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, oh, okay.
That is, I guess, safe.
Just say, oh, I don't know.
I would say a party.
Yeah?
The one for adults.
A really fun party that you will never be able to go to. Because no parent is going to say one day you get to have it. No. No parent of a child is going to say that. Don't get your hopes up. Don't get your hopes up, kids. If you're a kid out there, we didn't tell you what it is. All right, so.
We actually did it. That is fair.
No,
we are still in the PG rating right now.
It's just when more than 3 people have sex with each other. Okay, so spoilers. Oh, shit, I should have said that after the spoilers. That would have been a fun segue. Spoilers for this movie. Oh, we didn't talk about Vin Diesel. I guess we will in a bit. Maybe we'll save him at the end. We'll just talk about... I don't give a fuck. Chronicles of Diesel. That's our tagline. I don't give a fuck. I think the villain follows the classic Hollywood thing of this is a bad person who is right, but they're doing very obvious bad people things, therefore we gotta take them down. You know? And like, I don't see how you could ever say that he is wrong, besides the fact that he steals children. Even if you just settle that he's killing gods, but when he comes to stealing children to bait some gods, then that's like, in my opinion, the obvious evil thing, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if I could argue, oh, he killed a god that said, I don't give a shit about you or your people.
I mean, I believe in no gods, no masters, but you shouldn't be threatening children or putting violence on innocent people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's classic Hollywood thing, you know?
Yeah.
Your villain is someone that's relatable and they're right, but they want to kill a baby. Or
betrayal, yeah.
Or, they have to nuke Gotham City. And then our heroes aren't fighting, someone who's right to protect property. They're fighting a guy that wants to nuke all of New York or Gotham.
Nuke Gotham.
Also, Christian Bale definitely does his Batman voice at one point in this movie, and I love it. And I feel like that's a requirement from him from now on. If a character he plays has to go deep, he needs to throw a little bit of Batman in there. I didn't even get to it. But
what's funny is I just watched The Dark Knight,
really,
recently while we were camping because we had it on we downloaded it on HBO Max or whatever because Brent hasn't seen it. So it was kind of funny being like, oh yeah. Oh yeah. that guy. No, I loved his look. I really loved his makeup. I loved if you want to get a plus, at least a 1 star out of 10 from Devin in a movie, have your bad guy just have fucked up black teeth that looks like he just ate tar or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instant. I'm like, yeah. But no, I thought he was pretty cool, and I really liked his magic powers of being able to use the shadows and create almost Dark Souls or Bloodborne kind of creatures. Best way that I could describe it. I just really like the monster designs. I actually wish I got a little bit more of them, or maybe Thor fights a bigger one or something I wish he fought a big one on that moon or whatever instead of them fighting him maybe or something like that. But
yeah.
Regardless, no, I did like his sword.
Yeah,
it just
the
gave me
necro sword.
It just gave me D&D vibes in a good way.
Yeah.
So that was cool. And I do like his fuck the gods. Yeah, fuck them because they left them out to rot.
Yeah, and we're not shown any good ones besides our main character. You know?
No, the only good one is that one. It was like a type of Japanese food.
Oh, the dumpling named Bao. But you don't know that. What if he takes human sacrifices too? You don't know that.
Maybe
they literally were going to rank them all by human sacrifices.
Someone out there chokes on a dumpling, and that's the sacrifice.
He gets off on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I always kind of thought about this, like, wow, like, from the original, like, I didn't like Thor and, like, the first movie in the Avengers, because I'm like, you have my dude Captain America, you have my other dude Tony Stark, Iron Man, they're people, and then you have literally a god. Like, that doesn't seem fair. Like, get this guy, just get this Joker out of here. Yeah, but the Hulk, like, he's cool. You know what I mean? That makes sense. That's a man that has something happen to him.
I don't know. Even at that point, I feel like I thought Thor was cooler than Hulk.
You're out of your mind. You're so wrong. You're allowed to think the wrong thoughts. It's okay, Devin.
I mean, just like for me, the Hulk is just. I turn Hulk when mad, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Oh, for me is the self seriousness of how awesome Thor thinks he is. And I'm like, this guy out of here. Hulk is upset. Hulk needs a timeout. That's why he's green and angry. Although his secret is he's always upset.
He's a big baby when you think about it.
Exactly. His shorts never.
Has anyone
break.
done Baby Hulk? Or it's a baby, like normal baby, but every time the baby get mad, it grows to act like the Hulk we know.
Jesus, I was gonna say sometimes in Incredibles, Jack is like that, right?
Yeah,
so.
But I just want like, and babies get like upset over the dumbest shit, like, oh, no milk, Hulk, destroy half city.
Randomly, I'm upset now.
I fell down the stairs. Because I'm a baby.
Jesus. Then that's bad parenting if you
I turn into Hulk.
What was I going to say? Yeah, I like the villain a lot. I liked Gore, the God Butcher. I liked his sword. I agree. We open up the movie and like he's in just the desert in the middle of nowhere. He has his daughter. I didn't realize she died at first. I thought that the shot where he clearly buried her. I understand this after the fact. I thought he was sheltering her body, so he built a mound and was covering her the other way. So I didn't realize she died. But then, like when he starts leaving her, I'm like, wait a second, what are you doing? Then I understand.
You needed an X on that.
Oh my god,
on that
X-Man.
Yeah.
None of the gods are ever shown to be, good, and obviously the post-credits, mid-credits one is kind of showing that, I guess, or at least the gods want to take on the superheroes.
You're going back to the confusion of like what everything is. So, if you watch the Loki show, I guess spoilers for the Loki show if you haven't seen that. There's like a timekeeper, which is fake but not fake, I guess, and
it's not fake anymore.
Made it seem at the end of that show that like, no, it actually is real.
The idea that show was trying to do was saying that there was one timeline and it's faded. Everything was faded until the Lokis, Loki and Sylvia, I think that was her name, female Loki from the other universe, killed him, and now we have the multiverse stuff. So like all of these, anything in the Marvel universe happened for a reason or happened in just one way in particular until this. So now I don't say it doesn't matter, but now like there can be so many different things, but there's still some confusion because like
I just like, and this goes to my power struggle issue I have is like, you're talking about Thanos being like, okay, yeah, he was supposed to be the big bad guy, but I'm like, okay, but this whole time you had
Zeus. You had Ra. You had the dumpling guy.
And if you watch Moon Knight, there's Egyptian gods in that.
I didn't watch it, but yeah, that makes sense, right?
It's not really a spoiler because they kind of hit that in the show, but like, it's so it's like it gets me more confused. If anything, I'm just like,
I guess if you just look at him like Thor, of like he's just a really powerful person, then there's not like they're creating life and shit unless that's their only thing, right? I don't know.
But then you have Guardians of the Galaxy where one guy was creating shit,
so right? Because he was a planet. And then you have Eternals where there is a giant robot people that literally create life on a planet so that they can kill it all at once and make a new one of them. Remember that? Stupid plot. I can't wrap. Because then like
there's too
I
many
don't even know what these people are.
Universe creating people.
I just I don't know. Regardless, I think that when we get to, I forget what it was called, but the place that has all the gods in it. What I will say, the video game that this reminded me of, when they crash land, and you see like all of these gold and not futuristic, but in the sense that there's like walkways, and then 30 feet down there's another one perpendicular, and there's all these walkways. Ratchet and Clank, legitimately Ratchet and Clank, the first game. The Metropolis, the original one. There's I think it's Metropolis Plan or something that's called like that. That's 100% what it reminded me of. I'm like, oh,
I wish they would
hearing
just
the
say
music.
like Coruscant.
I would, honest to God, would love if that was the joke, because one of the Star Wars planets is there, and then they don't even humor the idea of looking further. It is just there, just to be you deal with it,
how
fans.
They do the big text where it says where it is, and it's just like Coruscant, and you're like, oh.
And they fly past and move on to the next one.
That would be the ultimate troll. Like, oh, it exists, but fuck you.
Ooh, even better. It's Alderaan, and as they're flying by, it explodes. As they fly by, that's when the Death Star hits it.
What was that? I don't know, but we got to keep moving.
Exactly. All right, so we need to get gas. Can we stop here? We're bad writers. I feel like this place was super underutilized. But my thought on this is I don't think they really had any plans to do more with this place. Maybe a stupid ass TV show, Zeus's baby brother or something is there. So they didn't do too much with there, and I'm kind of okay with it. But at the same time, it's like, why introduce one of these places and then I don't know, not do much with it? I don't know. I'm contradicting myself, but
based off the end credit scenes, though, I mean, I guess maybe we'll revisit it.
Maybe but I think it's more of Hercules is just going to get sent. Here's my other issue. One of the positive things that Marvel movies have is that the director has a lot of power over the course of the movie, right? Usually Kevin Feige and the Marvel CEOs are like, you got to throw an Infinity Stone in here. You got to say Thanos at least once in one of these movies, But regardless, you want to do something, you do it. So when Director A ends a movie with a character in one way, Director B doesn't necessarily have to continue that plot line. And my issue is that why did Thor go with the Guardians of the Galaxy if you're not even going to show any of it? Like, we hyper skip through a bunch of it, and he's not fat anymore, so he's just gotten over his self-doubt, and because he was still that way at the end of Endgame a little bit, you know what I mean? He saw his mom, and she said, in the past, and she's like, it's okay, boy. And he's like, okay, cool. And, they won at the end. But he's still a little broken. And he's kind of like, okay. And but he's broken over Jane in this movie. It's nothing to do with anything from that. So Taika didn't want to deal with any of that stuff. It looks like he clearly didn't want to deal with the Guardians of the Galaxy at all. So we got what we thought was going to happen.
Because, I think both of us...
That was a cool team up.
Yeah, and I think Guardians of the Galaxy is one of the, I would say it's better than the Avengers, in terms of just the camaraderie and, the humor for me. I really like Guardians of the Galaxy a lot more than, the Avengers squad and all their humor. Not saying they're bad, but just, it's different.
No, they show up once every 4 years to fight something together, as the Guardians live on the same ship. Yeah. So, you're 100% right. You're 500% right.
So, it is kind of a bummer that... But we guessed it, though. Didn't we do, Didn't we kind of guess that in a couple Chronicles of Diesel episodes ago? We were based off the trailers, it seems like it's going to be the first 10 minutes. And that's where we're back to the Vin Diesel stuff. We're like, how many lines is he going to be in it? The only way he'll have more lines is if that stuff is going to be longer, the first half of the movie. Which would be, I think that was if we got... half of the movie with the Guardians of the Galaxy, I think that would have been a treasure trove. But
the kicker,
we both guessed it, and we were both right. Unfortunately,
you're right. Yeah, because here's how it works: you watch a trailer for a movie. If you see a character in the movie, and they're in more than one shot in the trailer, if they're in the same location, chances are that's the location that they're in, because these types of movies show a lot. They show a lot.
Hate it. Fucking hate it.
it is what it is at this point. They show a lot. They did not show the Guardians in anything more than him standing at the bottom of the ship, the ramp, the deck, whatever it's called, to board the ship. That's what they showed, and that's what we got. But I think it's okay. I don't know. Like, he clearly overpowers them. So, like, if they want to have the Guardians be cool, they have to have reasons why he can't just do it himself. You know what I mean? And we say that, but how many times would we say that about the Hulk and this and this and that? And it still works out and still feels good, you know? It still works anyway. So, like, I feel like there could have been something there. I don't know, like...
You could even throw in and be like, he loses his power somehow. And
right.
That's where he learns his real self-worth.
Exactly, because where was that plot line? It was kind of maybe wrapped up, but again, I still believe he was still a little bit broken and needed it to be fully shaken back up. And we hyper skipped through it all. The cynicist in me says that that's a TV show they're planning on doing.
I mean, out of all the actors, isn't Chris Hemsworth the one the most who's like, I'll keep doing these, I don't give a fuck.
I think so. He was executive producer on this film, obviously.
He's gonna start being a Vin Diesel. He's gonna start being all these producers and this shit.
He's the only one that's like, this is what people know me for. Sorry, Robert Downey Jr. Most of the people that are alive today know you for Iron Man, and only that. Like, the drop off, the next movie would probably be Sherlock Holmes. And that's not what you don't want. Like, Robert Downey Jr. doesn't want to be known for those. More so than his serious roles, you know what I mean? He was also in Rodney Dangerfield's Back to School. And he wasn't good in that movie. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like him and maybe Chris Evans might take themselves a little bit more seriously than...
He was Tropic Thunder for us.
That's right. He wore blackface in that movie, and that was the joke.
I like him a funny movie. Zodiac, by the way. I would highly recommend it.
I don't know if I've seen that.
It's a thriller movie, but it has our boy Jake Gyllenhaal in it.
He's your boy. I don't like Jake Gyllenhaal.
He's your boy too.
He's not my boy.
He's the people's boy.
He's not my boy. He was also in a really bad Dr. Dolittle movie after Endgame. I don't think he's been in a movie since. So, I think
also Mark Ruffalo's in that movie, which is kind of funny too.
Really? That's interesting. Let's kind of kick it along here. Let's talk about the Guardians of the Galaxy, and let's talk about our boy Baby Groot. So Vin Diesel is in this movie as like teenage Groot.
Yeah, team
I said Baby Groot like I would just say, our baby Chris Hemsworth.
No, we have to call it what Vin Diesel calls him, Alpha Groot.
Alpha Groot is in this movie. He is... So the Guardians are handled very erratically all at once. Not nearly any weight of the camera on them, really, besides Chris Pratt to give a pep talk, a parting pep talk to Chris Hemsworth. So we don't really get to see too much of Alpha Groot doing alpha shit. He has binoculars in his mouth for whatever reason. And he says, I am Groot, to something funny that Chris Hemsworth said, and I forgot. But he was just there.
At one point, too, I think.
Good.
Where Groot mocks Chris Hemsworth's or Thor at some point. I don't remember what it was, but it's on the ship. Like, I remember it was specifically on the ship. But I think that was his last line. Probably.
I forgot to mention this. I had guaranteed prediction this. This was not even a prediction. This was me saying I guarantee this was going to happen. And it didn't happen. I had predicted that there was going to be some sort of line, some sort of verbal joke, not a visual joke, but a verbal joke that it reminds the audience that his axe is half Groot. Because the tree arm is the handle.
There was the scene where it's
growing. Yeah, but
growing into the thing.
No. You do have no idea that that's Groot. I want Natalie Portman's Mighty Thor, Jane Foster, to say, "Where'd you get that axe?" And he said, "My tree friend gave it to me," or whatever. That's what I was expecting. I had guaranteed it, and I didn't get it. So I'm upset. 4 out of 10. Movie sucks. Alpha Groot got betrayed by... does he even deserve the axe?
Also, since it grows, that makes me think that part's sentient, or Groot still controls it.
That'd be interesting. Well, the weapon is
But they
sentient.
make a
Obviously, they
joke
make
that-
jokes about that.
Yeah, which I really liked that, where like it's always hovering in the back, like as if like the whole like, oh, is he cheating on me kind of thing going on. I really
or
liked
just
that.
a jealousy. Yeah, Old Flame came back, two of them, and they're together. Yeah, he doesn't say much, which we were expecting, right? Unfortunately, Groot has been in more movies where he says less than a dozen lines than he has been in movies where he says more than a dozen lines. At this point, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I also want to know when they filmed this stuff. Do you think it was around Endgame?
No. Hell no. It had to have been. I think they haven't. I think that this entire. So, ignoring Black Widow, ignoring that movie, and maybe the beginnings of Shang-Chi, I think all of these projects started after they finally figured out their COVID protocol stuff for filming. And I feel like they started, basically they just pushed their production plans and said, now you start. Okay, now you're halfway through. Now you start. Okay, you're halfway through. Third person starts, first person finishes. Fourth movie takes that spot. I think that's how they've been doing it ever since. So I think filming started a year ago.
I wonder if like Chris Hemsworth came in for... So we're doing the Christmas special.
Chris Pratt, you're saying?
Yeah, or no, I'm wondering if Chris Hemsworth came on set for when the Guardians of the Galaxy were filming parts of the Christmas special. I wonder if that's what happened.
That makes a lot of sense.
Hey, we're going to save a lot of money if we just have them both doing their thing, and we'll just move the green screens together for this part.
Right. No,
not saying Waititi didn't direct these scenes, but rather just I wonder if they're like, hey, cast, we're not going to have you come in and fly to LA for this 15-minute basically section. I know you're all already doing this, so we'll move our crew there real quick, and we'll just
sure. And I mean, we haven't really heard really anything from any of the cast about the Christmas special. I've read stuff about their thoughts on Guardians 3, saying it is the Chris Pratt saying it was the most emotional movie he's ever been in, or something like that. James Gunn saying it was the best movie he's ever made, or is working on, or whatever, something like that. Don't quote me directly here.
Which you can also say that could just be hype. I mean, I feel like every time if you're a director, I hope that the next movie you make you think is the best work you did. I don't know. If I was a director, I mean, shit, I always try to do a little bit better next time I make something or whatever it is. So I just feel like I find that interesting. But yeah, I mean, no one's really talking about the Christmas special. I wonder if they just filmed those back to back. I would imagine they would.
I think you're right. That makes sense to me. I'll buy it for $1. I'd buy it for $1.
$2.99. With
so yeah, I mean, he wasn't in a bunch. I think he did as a predictable good amount in it. Do you have anything else you want to say about the Guardians?
He did the lines. Vin Diesel did the lines for Groot in this while doing the lines for the I Am Groot TV show. Can guarantee that.
Yeah, the 3-minute
and
episodes.
The third movie and the Christmas special. I bet he did that in 2 weeks.
Yep, and here's $47 million. Go make your ARC game. Yeah.
Well, he's doing fast right now. Okay,
that's true.
Week 12 or week 13, according to his Instagram.
Let's keep talking about the movie itself. Unless Vin Diesel, I feel like we've kind of talked about enough. He was in it. It's good enough. Not
4
much
lines.
did it have.
He said I'm Groot 4 times.
I think the Jane Foster arc didn't get as much of a due as it could have in this movie. Now, I'm a DC guy in the sense that I like Batman, I like Superman a lot, more so than pretty much any Marvel person, except I would put Wolverine and Spider-Man in that tier. Those are my 4 guys, I guess you could say.
That's
right?
your Avengers, right?
Right. Oh my god, that would be so fucking sick if that was the case. Batman, Superman, Wolverine, Spider-Man, come on. Do it.
Money.
The D in DC is going to stand for Disney soon.
Don't even give them fucking thoughts.
Oh, they've thought enough about it, I'm sure. They watch.
What if we bought DC?
Hey, there was a Black Adam trailer for this movie, when I saw it, which made me thought I was in the wrong theater. I didn't see any Disney movies in this, I don't
You're
think.
not in the DC theater, yeah.
Yeah. So, what was I going to say?
I was born a slave.
And then I died of God, and my son died for me. Fuck everyone. Root for me.
Drink my Zoa energy drink.
Anti-hero movies struggle with their trailers.
They do.
They do, because besides maybe Deadpool, but they made him a lovable person, so I don't know. Like,
drink Zoa energy drink.
What the fuck was I saying? Oh, I was going to say, I was saying as a DC guy, and like I read a lot of Batman. I read a bunch of Superman, Bamtan, Superman. There was a stint in my life where I actually looked out for Marvel stuff. I read a few Spider-Man stuff. I read X-23 Laura Wolverine stuff, and I read Mighty Thor. I read maybe 10 issues of that. That was the Jane Foster one. It was the new idea that they had. I read that. In that, and obviously it's not a direct adaptation. None of these movies are, really. But in that book, Thor he had some embarrassing defeat in some Avengers comic or something. He just ran away. And that's why there's no Thor. So she picks up the hammer. In the comics, this is why I'm saying this, because one of the only times I get to be this guy, you know.
In the comics,
in the comics, the chemo is working, but whenever she picks up the hammer, it flushes it all away. And so, but she's healthy and fine when she has it, but when she drops it, all of the work she had done with the chemo goes away. And like the plot of her actual Thor stuff has nothing to do with this movie. Obviously, there's a concept they had and they put in here. So I had seen that, but like when she dies at the end, I'm like, oh wow, this really sucks. She's in it for one movie, and I remember there was an interview quote, or no, it wasn't an interview quote. It was a headline I saw on Twitter that said that there was a quote about the future of both Thors in the MCU. So when she dies, I'm like, what the fuck did that mean? And then we get our post credits. Oh. Death doesn't matter in these fucking movies anymore.
It doesn't matter, yeah. Knuckles greets her at the gates of Valhalla.
That's right.
Yeah.
Knuckles, who secretly got busy and had a kid. I thought that dude, his whole life was supposed to stand at one spot and hold a spear or a sword or whatever.
Yeah, bro does not have a family unless he's getting paid like a lot of money to be there all day.
But whatever. They got Axel, his kid. But in any case, yeah, I liked this rendition of the character. Obviously, we're Natalie Portman stands,
but yeah, it definitely makes it feel like when someone outside of Iron Man, it doesn't feel like, even with we just recapped for last Chronicles of Diesel episode, Avengers Infinity War, and like the thought of everyone dying is like, oh, but like, we all know they're coming back besides Vision.
And Gamora. But no, she's back because it's a different fucking Gamora.
That's what I'm saying. There's like, it loses the impact of like, when someone dies, you just know they're going to come back. It loses that emotional...
If it literally has to be gods that die go there, or people, like, there has to be some sort of catch.
Well, I think that's it.
Because then here's the thing. Like,
if you're a god of...
Loki should be there. The Loki that dies in Infinity War should be there.
He died in battle, quote unquote, because that was their thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, Heimdall died shortly after Loki did, or shortly before, so that counts. You know what I mean? Also, I want to point this out. Chris Hemsworth's Thor tells Lady Sif, who was in Thor Dark World and the first one, when he meets her and she lost an arm. And she's like, let me die, I want to go to Valhalla. And he says, well, the battle's already done, so you're a survivor, so you won't go if you die. Natalie Portman died after they won. She pops up there. So dude just cock-blocked his old friend there. This is like, you want to... He lied to her, you know? Or he just didn't know, but I like the idea that he lied. And he did know. Yo, I mean, if you're injured Thor in the battle and then you die...
I guess Thor doesn't know that... Jane Foster goes to Valhalla. So.
I would hope they don't actually have any proof that Valhalla is real. I would hope that that's the case, give us some sort of, and I'm not looking for some actual God stuff in terms of faith is all you have, you know what I mean? I'm not actually asking for that, but I'm asking for not everyone to just know the entire ins and out of this fucking multi-universal shit. You know what I mean?
Because like the whole God thing, there could be a Hades and a hell or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? Like, that could be its whole thing, and I feel like, okay, when someone dies, they'll go there. Well, they can come back.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a Hades, is there a Pluto? Is there the Romans gods also in this? You know? I don't know.
I'm saying there's like 3 different gods that cover hell. Is Satan in it?
I mean, Ra.
I guess he's not a god.
Ra is the sun god, but isn't he also the god of death?
Where is
too?
the god though? The one that's real.
I don't think Marvel really wants to touch that, even as a joke.
Yo, what if they have Morgan Freeman in it? That would
I
be
would
fucking
lose
hilarious.
my mind. I think the only time they ever even said that, besides having a character go to church and that's that, is when in Avengers, when there's talking about Loki and someone's like, oh, but he's a god, and Captain America says, man, there's only one god and he doesn't dress like that. I'm like, that's cool, Chris Hemsworth. But that's the only time I think they're willing to touch that.
He's Catholic,
and Joss Whedon, who sucks, now we know.
Yeah, Captain America's definitely still Catholic and is pro-life.
Well, he's dead, so fuck him. He's pro I live forever life. No, he still gets old.
He's like, I'm pro-life because someone else could be Captain America.
Yeah. Sure. Bucky.
Big Buck. Did you ever call him Big Buck?
I hope not.
Missed opportunity.
God, those arcade games where you shoot the deer.
There's actually the rumors that they are making a Captain America 4 with, what's his name?
That's not a rumor.
That's real?
That was greenlit the second the final episode of the show aired.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
And, like, the name is probably announced by now.
Well, it was surprising to me, okay?
Yeah, that was a press statement. Yeah, no, that's happening for sure. I'm excited for that, obviously. Because I like my hand-to-hand combat, spy, thriller stuff, espionage. I don't want to say
America.
On your left.
I could do this all day.
I got guns. I shoot Hitler.
You know him? I killed him. Hitler? Yeah, that was me.
This movie was fun, though. I liked the goats the first time. Then the goats got old and boring. I like the joke that the new Asgard is also just a tourist trap, and that's just how they make their money. Because let's be real.
Would you go there?
For, a day. I don't know. I guess it depends on what the package is.
Okay. I mean, like, if that thing was real in real life, like where you could go on a flying pirate ship. Basically.
Sure, if Thor was real, yes. For a day, I guess. But I have a job to do, I have a job to do. They bring back the joke, and I wish... Again, I feel like this movie, there's a couple instances where it's like, hey, this joke from Ragnarok landed, let's bring it back, and it went on too long. I think Korg, that's the rock guy's name. Too much of him in here. Just a lot too much. But then the joke from Ragnarok of a play about the previous movie, starring Matt Damon and some other guy, they bring it back. Okay. And it drags on a little longer, and they really do show that it is indeed Matt Damon, because in the Ragnarok, you really had to pay attention, otherwise you wouldn't know. Here, it's like, yes, it's Matt Damon. We're going to show you it's Matt Damon. Then they pop back up later as whatever actor characters they are and ask if they can make a play about when all the kids get kidnapped. And I'm like, this joke ran its course last movie. It was fun in the last movie. Why is it in this one? Whatever.
It's just...
Do you disagree? I'm glad they didn't bring the... Sorry.
I don't think it was that bad. Like, I don't think it was that overdone, because it's been such a while for me since I've seen it. I'm like, oh, okay. I could see if, like, you just watched Ragnarok before this, you're probably like, okay. But also, it gives me compare it to the actual namesake of this entire operation, Sonic movie show, where there was some jokes that they're like, this was funny in the first one, let's do it again.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that is... I don't mind jokes. We've done bits that we've done over years that maybe only we find funny. So maybe that's the kind of situation it was in where they're like, We like this shit. We think it's funny. And
this is our identity now. We can't completely lose it, I guess.
So, but I think I would challenge that, like, hey, you don't have to. You could just not reference anything.
Yeah.
You know.
Now I do want
from the third movie.
I do want there to be more Thor movies, and it was very clearly going to be more Thor movies.
As long as Chris Hemsworth is ripped and can do the voice.
He's got a kid now to take care of, and she's like the center of the universe power or whatever.
Yeah, what do you think about that in general?
Whatever. I don't know. I mean, I liked the idea that there's no trick. There's no fight. The bad guy, well, there is a fight, obviously. The bad guy wins. He gets to win. But he doesn't realize until that moment that he can just wish for his daughter back. Instead of wishing for revenge, he can wish for his daughter back. And it's because of something, obviously, Thor says. Does this feel weird for me that I would much rather say Chris Hemsworth said that than Thor said that? Chris Hemsworth said that. But whatever. They're center of the universe. Again, there was a dude that wrote everything. And then there's multiversal stuff. And Spider-Man, there's 3 of them. One of them didn't even get his final movie.
I think Kid Thor, by the way, is Hemsworth's son, Tristan Hemsworth.
Who's Kid Thor? Oh, in the beginning when they're running?
Yeah, I think that's his son, which is actually, that's adorable.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's my son. That's my nephew.
I wish my dad was Chris Hemsworth. That'd be dope.
I wish my dad was rich from being in movies. I wish Russell Crowe made my dad naked.
I wish when I went to Target, I saw my dad everywhere in every toy aisle.
I wish people saw my last
so
name.
Weird to me. I can't imagine that being like, because everyone goes to Target eventually, and you go there and like you're Chris Hemsworth, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm that guy, and like there's it's gotta be so surreal. I feel like just be like, oh, there's an action figure of me, and
if
like,
I was Chris Hemsworth,
yeah,
I would definitely be the actor that when I go to a Target, I buy all of the toys of me and leave. Whatever I was getting, orange juice, some eggs, and then a shopping cart full of my own action figures, and I leave. I don't give them to anyone. It's not like everyone gets it. I would just leave with them. Be like, all right, I want these.
What I would do is if I'm doing that, is I won't tell it. Like I'm just like at the checkout, see what they like, see how like if they notice that like oh. But I would probably like see if there's like, because some places have like the toy bin during Christmas to donate toys. I would just dump the whole thing in there and be like,
okay, sure.
You know
I also like the idea of just, I want my own toys, and I want every single one that exists, and all of them. I just do that. I don't know what I would do.
I guess in a way you would like, you're losing money in that way, but also you're getting money. Because you're spending the money, but you probably get like, for every $15 action figure that's sold, you're getting like $3 of that, right? So
I think Disney has a pretty strong grip on everything, so I honestly don't think Chris Hemsworth benefits from any of his merchandise.
I wonder how much Chris Hemsworth is worth. Let me look that up.
He's worth 4 movies. He was in the Christmas Vacation, National Lampoon's Vacation reboot. Not reboot, but like, you know, it's been 30 years.
He's worth
we're making a
$130
sequel.
million, so like,
yeah, it's a
one
lot of
budget
action
of
figures.
a Marvel movie.
Yeah. He can pay for his own.
I forget he's Australian. I forget that as well.
Oh, I never knew that. Ew. I don't like that. Any closing thoughts we want to have for this movie? I thought it was decent fun. They're all decent fun, except Eternals.
I mentioned at the top that like this one is one of the better ones in the last couple years. Would you say the same thing, or do you think that like compare that to like
if I were to rank
Spider-Man?
If I were to rank all of the ones from Black Widow onward, because there was Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange, and then this one. So there's 6 movies and a bajillion fucking episodes of TV shows. I don't want to rank those. Eternals is low just because it was boring, and it just has too many questions, and I don't buy it. I just don't buy the idea behind it. I guess Shang-Chi, even though I liked that movie, but it's just so different because it's not connected yet. I guess. Maybe this one than Doctor Strange and Spider-Man. I just really like the Sam Raimi isms of Doctor Strange. I just appreciated that a lot, which makes me like that movie a lot, maybe more than this one. But I also like this movie. But Spider-Man, I mean, like you said at the top, you're not really excited for anything besides Spider-Man. I have no burning anticipation or excitement for another Avengers or even the Captain America or anything like that, but I do for the next Spider-Man because I want to see what happens. He's on his own now.
For me, the next one is just Guardians.
Oh, and yeah, that one, I guess, but I don't have that, like, I can't wait. Like, I get every now and then when I think about the ending of No Way Home.
For me, it's just Guardians, and then, like, in terms of your just, like, general interest, for me, it's just, like, Blade, because I'm like, I don't know what the fuck they're going to do with Blade. Because, like, the Blade movies, I've seen parts of all of them. It's so, like, 2000s in all the right and wrong ways that I'm like, that's my Blade. I'm like, what are you going to do to fit in the Marvel DNA? Unless you're not afraid to do risks, which I'd appreciate if they do. But I'm like, how are they going to fit that into this world? Where, because he's supposed to be killing motherfuckers. Like, he's slicing and dicing. There's no people getting amputated and shit in any of these movies, or getting beheaded or shot to death. You know what I mean? Really? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I think the Sam Raimi, there was some blood, but it was very little. So I'm like, if that movie isn't rated R, I'm like, I'm going to be very concerned for me. Like, I'm just like, I don't know what they're going to do with that. So in terms of, like, just I'm interested what they're going to do at Blade. But in terms of, like, expectations of what I probably should like or am hyped about, for me, it's Guardians and then Spider-Man, whenever the next Spider-Man is.
Yeah, you're right. And then Guardians would be done, I guess, because I don't think there was going to be more than 3. I'm pretty sure.
Planned, unless it, gets $1 billion in the box office, then someone will do it.
Like,
it might not be James Gunn, but it'll be someone will do it.
Like, maybe...
Because I know James Gunn's doing more Peacemaker.
Oh, really?
I don't know if he's doing another Suicide Squad thing. I thought maybe that might have been talked about, but yeah, I don't know what he's doing after this Guardian stuff, what he has plans for.
All right, let's wrap this up, though. We're excited. Vin Diesel was in this movie. We're not going to rank it yet. We'll put it in the list after F9, whenever the next episode is after F9. But this has been a fun special episode of the Chronicles of Diesel. My name is Ethan. He was Devin over there on the virtual side of the screen.
And I am Chris Hemsworth.
At Sonic Movie Show, at Cursona Fun, at Ethan Absolutely. TikTok, same for the Sonic Movie Show. Listen to our other episodes, etc., etc., etc. We'll see you later. Have a fantastic day.
We'll see you on the underside. See you in Valhalla.
What is it with you? What do you got, a death wish or something?
That's what it takes. I just want to race. Ride or die, remember?